on their journey. So we're advertising to the unaware. Now the unaware then go, oh, that's odd. So they will start Googling more. So then they become aware. And we then have to offer information to the aware client. We're still doing it a little bit the same. Do you suffer from bloating? Have you tried? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? But we're looking at that person. Once they've been made problem aware, we then move on to the next stage where they will be seeking advice. Okay, they're going to be out there, they're going to be looking for advice. They're going to be looking for the practitioner that suits them. And that is that gap. You already identified them at the beginning of their journey because they were problem unaware. But here we are now trying to get them to come and see us. And why are we doing that? Because we know we can help them. Hello and welcome. Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to your needs, the needs of the practicing natural therapist. With interviews, herbal discussions, something business and something clinical each week, you'll get the variety you need and enjoy to stay motivated in practice. Hello, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite Size Podcast. How are you going today? Now, are you on my mailing list? So the reason I ask is because I'm trying, sometimes unsuccessfully, to email once a week with updates on what's in the group and what's happening here on the podcasts and all the other information I can think of or anything that will be helpful. So please check out the show notes for this and the other shows because there's links there for all the things that you can find. And if you wanted to email me, it's Geraldine at mentoringwithgeraldine.biz because I'd love to hear from you. If you've got questions or if there's anything you'd like me to discuss, anyone you want me to interview, then please email me and let me know. So what are we talking about today? We're going to talk about the gap in the market and your ideal client. Now, I'm not going to go on forever. This is a bit of a quickie, but what is the gap? Where is the gap? I have recently talked about all the places that you can put your offerings out in the community and online. And now I want you to think about that gap that your community has. So when I say the gap in the market, it's, if you think about it, there's somebody doing absolutely everything all of the time and there's nothing left. So sometimes it's the way we approach a gap in the market. There are a lot of naturopaths who specialize in menopause, for example. But we need to show ourselves as different. We need to latch on. Perhaps we want to work more with people who are having hot flashes or hot flushes, depending where you're from. So maybe we want to work with people who have gut issues, and maybe it's because of bloating rather than anything else. So maybe we can spiral down to a particular style of individual, or we can spiral down to a symptom or a problem or a gap in the market. Now, when we're looking things up, it can be quite hard, but we do have a number of free resources. Things like Answer the Public and Also Asked are both sites where you can start typing things in. You can type in words like menopause and it will come up with loads of questions and ideas, and then you can start researching out from there. If you need blog ideas, great blog generator is HubSpot. So you could easily pop your ideas into there and it will start generating ideas for you. And if you want to share your blogs with someone, look at Medium and Source Bottle. But back to where we were. Where is the gap? The gap we look for. So we find our ideal client. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. There's loads of information on this in the Academy as well. But it often takes us time to nut down who our ideal client is. Sometimes it is us. It is someone very similar to ourselves. So it might be that you're at the start of your journey, and so you're loving looking after women and babies because you happen to have babies at the moment, or you're at the beginning of your journey and you're just coming out of acne stage and, the mind-body stage. And so that's where you want to focus yourself with your clients. So sometimes it's ourselves and sometimes not. Sometimes we have an absolute focus for a totally different reason. We might be in oncology because of something that's happened to a family member or to ourselves as well. So we try and find that ideal client within that modality. So it might be oncology, but you might prefer to see women than men, or you might prefer to see men for women, whatever it is, or you might not care. You might prefer to see people in their 40s because they're easier to deal with. They've had a lot of life experience so far. Whatever those reasons are, we need to go through them. And then once you've started thinking about that ideal client, you're then thinking about their gap in the market. You're then thinking about where they are within the market. So they're menopausal, they're hot and sweaty and having palpitations. So is there a gap within the market right there that you can start advertising to? There probably is. So we need to think about this gap because we start honing our knowledge and our skills as well as our marketing to those people. Our marketing has a lot to do with who we see. And our marketing has a lot to do with outcomes. All right. So we've really got to think about the outcome for the client, their problem. Are they unaware? So we've got several stages within this as well. So your client, are they unaware they've got a problem? In which case you're advertising to them and you're saying, do you have bloating? Are you farting? Do you go to the toilet more than 3 times a day? Because those people might not be aware that it's a problem. They might think, well, everybody's bloated, everybody's farting, everybody goes and has a poo 3-4 times a day. And of course, we know that's not true. So, but they might not. So these people are unaware on their journey. So we're advertising to the unaware. Now the unaware then go, oh, that's odd. So they will start Googling more. So then they become aware. And we then have to offer information to the aware client. We're still doing it a little bit the same. Do you suffer from bloating? Have you tried? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? But we're looking at that person. Once they've been made problem aware, we then move on to the next stage where they will be seeking advice. Okay, they're going to be out there. They're going to be looking for advice. They're going to be looking for the practitioner that suits them. And that is that gap. You already identified them at the beginning of their journey because they were problem unaware. But here we are now trying to get them to come and see us. And why are we doing that? Because we know we can help them. We're not doing that because we're a charlatan, because we're going to pretend. They're going to spot that pretty quickly. You've got your degree, you've got your qualification there, you're displaying it for them, you belong to an association, you have insurance, your education is recognised by the government. So you have all that background. And so you have that on display. Not as the only thing on display, because you want to talk to them about their problems, so they come to see you, and not a snake oil seller, not someone who's pretending that they're qualified, not Auntie Jean who's read on the internet that it'd be a good idea to swallow a snake. What we want is for them to come to us. And so we need to identify the clients that are our perfect clients, or our ideal client, and then the gap that they fit into. And all of this works together. There's lots of resources we can use, but then when we're sharing, so we go and use Answer the Public and also Asked, and then share what you find of those to the public. Then you can look through those questions that those 2 generators find you, and you will find lots of content ideas. All right, so it was just a really quick one today because I have talked about this in the Facebook group and Strictly Education and Support. I did talk about it slightly longer than this, but I just really wanted you to start thinking, maybe you're doing the dishes, maybe you're off for a walk right now, maybe you're in the car driving. I just wanted you to think to yourself, who is that ideal client of mine? And just start imagining them. Just start piecing them together. You don't need to know what hair colour they have. You don't need to know the colour of their eyes. You're really looking at your favourite client that's ever come to see you. That might be their personality. It might not be that problem, but it might be that personality. Then we look at that perfect person who came to see us and we absolutely loved them. They did everything we asked them to do. They asked all the right questions. They said it in such a way that you felt that, you could definitely be their auntie or their mother or their daughter, whatever it is, son, if you're a bloke listening. So, but we've identified with that person. Once we've identified, then we find the next thing that goes with it. So it might be that person you identify actually has an autoimmune condition, and you don't really like autoimmune conditions. So you dealt with a person and you got good results and all the rest of it, but they're not your ideal client, but the person was. So you need to take the traits of that person And then we look at the person who had the problem that you really enjoyed solving. Maybe it was someone who was in their 60s, so not necessarily your ideal client, but they had all the traits. So we pair those up together while we're finding that ideal client. Okay, so this can be multiple people scrambled into one, because there will be a 20-year-old, a 40-year-old, and a 60-year-old out there, all with the same problem. We just need to find that ideal client, and then because we found the problem, then we find the gap in the market that we want to say to people, this is where I work. This is my area, so that people who have that problem in that area will come to you. So I hope that's helped. I hope that's made sense. And I hope it's just got your thinking cap on so that you can really, hone in and make notes, really nut down on it. And that's going to help you overall with finding that gap and marketing your business. I'm no marketing guru, but that's the way it is. I grew up in a family of advertising. My father was an advertising executive. My mother was in sales. So really, it's something that I do know about intrinsically rather than from having studied. But there's lots of groups out there and there's lots of places where you can find out more. But you can certainly start on this free podcast figuring out your ideal client and that gap in the market. Anyway, that's all for now, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the podcast. Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for the weekly episodes. If you'd like even more support and learning, then the Academy is for you. Here you'll find part 2 of the herbal discussions, more clinical learning, and case studies to support your clients in practice. Bye for now.